It's an honor to be here and to have such a distinguished panel with me. So, to the far end, we have Charlene Gallia, who is a conceptual artist whose body often navigates between online identity and physical experiences. I really liked this quote. And she's currently working on a community clubbing project called Serendipity, which will be presented in December in Rosa Queer. Then we have, obviously, an iconic face, Mr. Alfie Fabri, who has been a household name for more than 40 years without giving an indication about the age. And a little snippet from my side, I first encountered Alfie's work through Buzz FM when I was a 13-year-old trying to navigate through different musical experiences, and I believe that was the first time I had an idea what a community of people enjoying the same music should look like, especially because as kids we used to write letters and you used to read them on the radio show. And then, last but not least, we have Kevin Ellul, who is the co-founder of Glitch Festival for the past 8 years now.
Since 2016.
Yes, Glitch has been growing in size but also in popularity and is now maybe one of the most popular electronic festivals in Malta, but also making a name internationally. So today we invited this panel to comment a little bit about their experience of this documentary, but also to give a brief overview of what is their idea of clubbing in Malta, especially maybe throughout the ages. We gave you each 5 minutes, and I wish to please ask you to keep to the 5 minutes limit. So who would like to start? So we start, okay. So Mr. Alfie Fabri, thank you.
Once again. I think following this documentary, which was very interesting, and these kind of topics, we talked about them during the years since the 80s, from my time. But the music, it's something very powerful in a way that music creates this thing, you know, it's all built up on the music foundation. And we also mentioning the electronic trend in music, but mostly it didn't start it from electronic, it started way back from other kind of different music through the ages. Like if we go back in rock and roll times, this when the revolution started. And with the revolution, all the things we've heard about it on this documentary, mostly it's part of the whole thing, which people wanted to go out, express themselves as they wanted, without, because before, if you're going to on a dance floor, the good old days, you need to be in a uniform way. But after like Woodstock, after the 60s, after the revolutionary, these things just changed a lot. And I know that even the generation, especially the 60s generation, the young generation wanted to do the full revolutionary, which by the end of 1960s, 1969, the year of Woodstock, the year when psychedelic music started. And I think these kind of two are what it started, what we are talking about today. That's about the dance floor. And I would like to make it I want to think, because dance floor is very important. Mostly people go on the dance floor to do all the things we are talking about. You know, people, I sometimes, when I think about the dance floor, I think it's like the church for the young generation. It's not for the young generation, but it is when we had the dance floor, because now we can go to an event, but the dance floor was something completely different. When we had the nightclubs and the dance floor, you have to go in the dance floor, and that was like going in a portal. When you go there, the world around you just change. You don't think about anybody else, and it's like a trance. It's like when we see different people thinking about, and that's what happened. That's why it was very important, even on the name of this documentary, the dance floor, because the dance floor, it's like a portal. When you go on the dance floor, in fact, recently during the big events, the dance floor just lost its importance, and people just going there mostly in an area, in a dance area, and we lost something because, like, when you're going to a church, you can go for a mass outside, but there's a difference when you go in a church, in a temple. And I think the dance floor, it's like the temple for not only dance music, because music, it's very important in our life. It's like something that we bring everything we live for together in that part where we go. And like we go into the dance floor, it's very important. Today we've lost it. And that's how I would like to say it is like a portal. We go there and we are completely a different person. We think differently. That's why there was the revolution when these kind of rave parties started, because it was a political thing. There was all the problems at that time.
I will have to.
All right, because it's
minutes
time.
are up.
But
Yes, thank you very much. It was a very interesting comment, especially the fact that you mentioned that there's no longer now going into the dance floor because the infrastructure of clubs is mostly changed and it's now an open floor.
Maybe
So,
we'll come back.
who's next?
Next.
So I see myself like as a body who is not just online and offline, but I've experienced dance floors even like from working behind a bar. For example, as a photographer, as a performer, as a dancer, so I can say that my body in the different situations, it has existed, it has different needs, different observations. My first experiences mostly of dance floor has shifted from Malta to London and now again in Malta. And for example, let's say if I have to see myself working from behind the bar, one thing I really would like to see is, for example, people drinking less alcohol and really feeling the music as well more. So even though we have spoken a lot about positive and there's the negative, but for example, as a person being behind the bar, it would be so beautiful to see people drinking less alcohol, asking for more water, and dancing and sweating more, because sweating everything out, all your week away, all your problems away, and as well really enjoying music, for me it will be the ultimate satisfaction. As a performer, in my work as a performance artist, I have discussed both positive and negative sides of taking drugs, which is important because that opens as well space for people to relate, for example, having negative experiences, something, maybe having a positive experience as well is something we talk about more, but to have spaces where you can say, this has happened to me. Then, by being in a community, we can hear each other's experiences more, and we can be there more for each other. For example, even if I am on a dance floor and something has happened to me, then I know that if someone else is in a situation, we can assist someone else in the community. I think that is very important. because we all want to have the same experience, but on a different level. So it would be great if we all leave the club with a smile and we all go home safely. And as well as a photographer, for me, the dance floor is a very special place, especially when I see people really letting go and creating, as that guy say, shapes, forms without being judged. As well, being online constantly, we are often judging others, and actually being on a dance floor and just completely being as a whole group together means a lot to me. And I don't know if there's another body I want to speak of. Maybe as well as a person growing up, I'm 39 years now, and I started going out when I was about 14. And for me, dancing is a very important physical activity, and as well, perceptions, connecting with people, listening to music, listening to space, how my space is actively being different in different spaces. Other countries I go, how it relates to being around people I don't know, how I feel welcomed. So that is from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. That is a point which is very interesting, especially which will be also presenting the Malta study later on today, and some similarities or differences between countries across the world. So now it's you, Kevin. Thank you.
So, hello everyone. I think it's really good that we're actually having this discussion about still a relatively taboo subject, I would say. Karen would
Well, we've
touched in more about it. Yeah, we've improved a lot. I have to admit, I've learned a lot from you and Julia from the first time we spoke. I think it was during COVID.
Yes.
And we had a lot of time on our hands. So I can relate to the past 20 years I've been doing events. The dance floors have evolved quite. Okay, is it better? Yeah. Dance floors have evolved quite a bit, but not much has changed as well. I think there's still a sacred space for a lot of people. There's an element of a community feel, and music in a way is an important part of the fabric of society, I think. I think people just go to events for one simple reason, just to enjoy themselves and have a good time. It's so simple. Not being judged, coming from all parts of society, whether it's race or sexual orientation, anything. You can just go there, be yourself, and hopefully you'll have a good time without anyone bothering you. And it's as simple as that. In terms of the way the country reacts to what's happening, even on a bigger scale, like, for example, the festival scene, which is still relatively new in Malta, I think we're at the crossroads. Authorities are split about the opinion. Some realize the opportunity there is for Malta and the economical impact as well of festivals. In other areas, then we're still quite far back. Like there's still a stigma against especially electronic music. I know Alfie mentioned other genres of music, but speaking through experience, there's a big gap between organizing any other event and an electronic music event. When it comes to licensing, permits, and the way things are approached, it's improving gradually, and the authorities do listen, and I think they're learning along the way. But there's a lot of work to be done in that aspect.
Thank you very much. We now open the floor for any questions. If anyone would like to make a comment or a question to our panelists. Oh, silent. Ah, yes, okay. Just a second, we'll get the mic.
Hello? Please raise your hand.
Yes.
So you've talked a lot about
the music scene, but I haven't really heard anyone mention a big part of the documentary is about drug use. And I understand Malta is fairly conservative, and just curious to see what that is, what's that like here? Is the drug element a big part of the music scene here as well? Or do you have particular feelings about it that you can express?
Yeah, I think if you compare it to at least Europe, which is which we're more exposed to, I think it replicates perfectly. I would say it's identical, like if you compare it to UK or Netherlands, where there are big scenes.
But I think the drug scene, it's not all in music, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. That's
It's in sports, it's in the feast, it's in religion. Because we tried during the years what we achieved today because of the taboos back in the years is because we believed in our it's music. But some people do feast. If you go to the festa il March ta' filgħodu, you see drugs there too. Everywhere you see drugs in sports. But usually we try to leave it only for music, which is not true. Drugs is everywhere. It was part of the scene.
Same, for example, in catering. No one speaks about drugs in catering. Same. It's. I feel as well that we are excluding a part that about the body, our body, and we are living in times where our body has the need to continue. So drugs are part of so many different segments of our life. And yes, in clubs, like other countries, I see the same things happening on a dance floor in Malta. Like in other countries, one thing as well, which is not so popular in Malta, but I've experienced in other country where drug use then further up, is after parties. So for example, when I lived in London, after parties are never ending, or when I visited Berlin, never ending. In Malta, after parties are still very minimal, or they happen for a few hours, as far as I know, or maybe I haven't been invited.
And I think the after party, because she mentioned very important, I think the Maltese dance scene, especially, it became like it is today, because about 20 years ago it was at its best. There was the best nightclubs, like there was Parchville, there was different. But today it's changed totally. But I tell you, the event we used to call the after party, which sometimes stop at 10 in the morning, that was the effect that mostly the club scene came to an end. It changed. But I think the after party doesn't make. You cannot go, for example, to see a match more than 90 minutes, because that's the time, and even an event, it should have its time, and I think that's very important. The other thing, even if it is drugs or alcohol, it's because of the economic, the commercial thing, because something must be done to get money out of it. It's nothing to have with music. It's only something else, part of the event.
If I may add about statistics related to drug use, one has to also look at different drugs. So, for example, when we look at cannabis, the statistics is around 4.3%. If you look at Spain, the statistics, if I'm not mistaken, is around 20%. But then, if you look at cocaine, for example, I don't know the statistics perfectly for Malta, but when you compare Malta to Berlin or to Germany, the levels are lower. So it depends a lot on the drug we are talking about and the age group, because that is something we assume that we're talking about maybe a particular age group, but statistics show that certain age groups are more inclined to use certain substances. And if you want to check more information, it's the report by the European Monitoring Center for Drugs and Drugs Addiction is very good, because they update their system yearly. Thanks. Any more questions? Yes.
Hi. I look a lot at that banner that you have there, and I feel a bit angry at one of the points. I think we've spoken about this in the past, and I need to bring it up because I've tried to bring it up even socially, but I was blocked. Keep hydrated. I lived in 5 countries. I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of different clubs, to attend a lot of different parties, to see amazing artists. But I've also had the freedom, the luxury to have water. This in Malta is something which makes me super disgusted and angry. That I have to go to a party or to a festival, and 1, they don't let you go in with your own water. 2, they charge you €3.50, €4 for a bottle of water. And the amount of people I found unconscious or not doing well, and I'm trying to help them by giving them water, is ridiculous. I'd like to sort of ask a direct question, especially to Kevin. You have managed to build a successful big festival in this country. However, my question to you is, if you care so much about the communities, about the people who are in the dance floor, why is it so hard to give them the choice of having free water, of having a water fountain, of, if not free, then at least kept? Because I was disgusted that when I see the owner of a venue where you host your festival talking about looking forward for next year's edition, and I'm commenting about it would be great if I could find a water station just in case I get dehydrated and I don't have enough money to buy a bottle of water, and then I'm blocked from even commenting. I feel that then my safety is not appreciated. You don't really truly appreciate, and it angers me. Even though I'm talking now, I'm super angry about it, because again, when I was abroad, Berlin, London, wherever, they would have like jugs of water for free if I'm not feeling well. And again, if it can't be free, then the government or whatever should intervene and cap a price like they do in certain countries. But the fact that you're charging €3.54, and I'm saying, I don't have enough, I can give you enough, like the difference in change. No, go top up €30 on your wristband. How is that right? How is that motivating me to come again to your festival or to come again to your party? Because I feel at the bottom of my heart, then really and truly what you're doing is just business. And as great as that is, because you need an income, because this is your daily bread, it is also important that my health and my safety is guaranteed. This is also coming from my end, especially if I use drugs, I need to take care of it. But I'm just looking for someone to actually like provide me that safety, that if I'm dehydrated, I can have a glass of water and not say, like, no, you have to go top up, or no, like, it's €4. It's ridiculous, you know, we need to stop this. This is abuse. If we want to continue on a path where the safety of us partygoers is guaranteed, then this is, I feel, is a must, a God-given right that we have water, you know? So that's it, sorry. I don't want to get, I'm passionate about the whole thing, you know?
Yes, we spoke also about this, and I just want to give Kevin the time to answer, because we're 2 minutes
and thank
away,
you for
but take all the time you need to
for clarity's sake, I didn't block we didn't have the conversation online. I know you spoke with another person, so with the person involved in the venue, not trying to defend what happened or whatever. First of all, there's a little bit of a misconception about the free water thing. It's a legal requirement for us to offer free water, okay? So there will be free water everywhere. Legally, technically, if you open the tap, the water available to us everywhere is potable, which means you can drink it. We don't actively advertise it as drinking water, for the reason I can't guarantee the quality of the water. For example, if we're in a field where we do have not water fountains, but the basins with water out of them, just for the simple reason, if someone gets unwell with the water, I can't guarantee the source. We don't have the resources to test in a remote site, such to speak. Comparing to festivals abroad, you do get free water as well there, yes, you're right, that's correct. But you also pay for bottled water, and much more than the prices you pay here. So to be fair to us, the bar aspect of our operation is subcontracted, so I don't have, or my team doesn't have full say of what happens and what doesn't happen. However, I do agree it could go down in price and become more accessible for everyone. But to be fair, then drink prices are really cheap, relatively speaking, especially when you compare to other festivals abroad. I mean, you said you've been to festivals abroad, and the prices of drinks are ridiculous. They could be 2-3 times as much as we charge here.
Water and the spirit here costs the same.
Yeah, and yeah, it's true. And even if you compare it to every other anything else,
Yes,
like if you go out for a pizza over here now, how much is a pizza? It's 15 euros. It's a joke. I mean, it's so expensive. I mean, so the rate of inflation in price of food compared to alcohol and drink is completely different.
And I think sorry to jump in, but I think the main issue is that water is considered as a bar item. It should not be considered as a bar item because it's an essential, not from your perspective, but people who rent the place. There should be some kind of legislation which enforces the fact that water should be kept, as you suggested, maybe at €1.20 as we buy it from...
like coffee in Italy.
Yeah, and even when you buy water from a supermarket, it's a retail price. So
and also in terms of safety, maybe we could do more in terms of awareness. And I speak to Karen and Julia a lot about it, and I'm sure it's just the beginning. But just to give you an example, on site there'll be medics roaming around. There is also an awareness team roaming around. So I can vouch for that. If they see you unwell, they'll come with a ton of water right away.
and compared to when
Karen,
I started growing...
I said, because it's very important, because a new young generation at this stage of the scene, the whole scene about, we're talking about the education you're doing like in Earth Garden and these things, it's very important to start doing this awareness in schools, especially the secondary schools, because those kind of people in 2-3 years' time, they could be the new dance floor people. So
Exactly.
that's how it works. That's how it works about 20 years ago. The time of Tribu and Love Sexy, those people just changed.
And something which used to happen when I was younger is that tap water used to be closed. And flushings used to be closed. I don't understand why that was the case, which was very disgusting because obviously people could not flush their toilets. I'm running out of time. Could you maybe speak? Okay, so we keep on the schedule. So we take a 10-minute break, just maybe to go a bit out. I will invite you back at 7:10. And we also invite you to have a look at our table and grab one of our flashcards. Thank you very much. And thank you to our panel for this very interesting overview.